In the inhospitable and arid mountains of Zamfara, in northwestern Nigeria, where the sands of the Sahel merge with forgotten villages, hides an ancestral mystery, an ancient tribe known as the Hyena Men. Isolated for centuries from the rest of the world, this community has survived in one of the most unforgiving environments on the planet, preserving to this day one of the most amazing customs of mankind, taming, and sometimes turning into pets, one of the fiercest and most feared animals in the world. A territory of difficult access and potentially lethal, where dusty roads are lost between steep mountains, in a region of the planet plagued by extreme temperatures, violent sandstorms, and the constant threat of the most lethal wild animals. An environment as inhospitable as it is fascinating, where only the most resilient manage to survive. A unique community that stands out for the beauty of its men and women, whose distinctive features seem sculpted by generations of isolation and adaptation to their environment. But beyond their appearance, what really stands out in this tribe that lives on the margins of society is their way of traveling through towns and cities, performing shows in order to survive, walking alongside hyenas tied with thick chains as if they were pets, as well as python snakes and trained monkeys. Don't miss this new video of Uncensored World to discover the secrets and curiosities of the Gadawankura, one of the most isolated and strange tribes on the planet. An ancestral ethnic group that is believed to use a mixture of secret herbs, ointments, and rituals, and even magic amulets that make them immune to wounds, allowing them to maintain millenary traditions and live together in one of the most lethal regions of the planet. Pay attention and do not miss this video. Soon you will know what is probably one of the most extraordinary tribes on the planet. Let's get started. In the streets of Kano, one of the most important cities in northern Nigeria, and known as the commercial heart of the region, lives a community as extraordinary as enigmatic, the Gadawankura, popularly known as the Hyena Men. Kano, with its vibrant history as a center of trade and culture in West Africa, is also the starting point for one of the world's most unusual spectacles. From here, the Hyena Men travel to even more remote and dangerous regions, making their home in the arid Zamfara Mountains and other regions of the Sahel. These lands are inhospitable and lethal, where temperatures can easily exceed 45 degrees Celsius during the day, while nights fall into extreme cold. The terrain is difficult, with dusty roads winding through rugged mountains and isolated villages. In this region, not only is the climate a challenge, but also the presence of wild animals such as hyenas, poisonous snakes, and scorpions. In addition, the region is plagued by endemic diseases such as malaria and yellow fever, which constantly threaten the local populations. Life in these areas is not only difficult, but also dangerous for social and political reasons. Insecurity makes the environment a constant threat. Many members of the Gadawankura are persecuted or marginalized, viewed by local communities with a mixture of fear and distrust because of their unusual traditions, considered by many as witchcraft or supernatural practices. It is logical that anyone meeting the Gadawankura for the first time would react with awe or even fear, as the sight of men walking with chained hyenas, snakes coiled around their bodies, and trained monkeys generates an immediate impact. These images seem to be taken from a parallel world, but they represent centuries of tradition, skill, and a deep knowledge of the animal kingdom. The Gadawankura have faced significant challenges that have led them to reinvent themselves and rely on legends to survive in an extremely hostile environment. Although they do not settle permanently in specific places, their presence is remarkable in various regions of Nigeria. One of the most emblematic sites in the country is the Zuma Rock, an impressive monolith located north of Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Zuma Rock, also known as the Gateway to Abuja, rises approximately 300 meters above its surroundings and is considered one of the largest rock formations in the world. The Hyena Men belong to the Hausa ethnic group, one of the largest and oldest communities in West Africa. The Hausa, whose presence extends across Nigeria, Niger, and other neighboring countries, have been traders, farmers, and artisans for centuries. Their culture is deeply marked by a rich oral tradition, including stories, legends, and music passed down from generation to generation. Nomadic life and the ability to adapt to hostile environments have made the Hausa a resilient and diverse community, with skills that few could match. Within this culture, the Gadawan Kura represent a unique subgroup. Their relationship with wild animals distinguishes them from the rest of the ethnic group, leading them to occupy a special, though often controversial, place within their own society. The practice of taming hyenas and other wild animals has its roots in the griots, the traditional oral storytellers of West Africa. These entertainers toured villages and towns telling stories, singing and entertaining crowds with riveting performances. Over time, some griots began to include wild animals in their performances, giving rise to what is known as the Beastmen. The Gadawan Kura inherited this tradition and perfected it into their itinerant way of life. They travel from village to village performing shows with hyenas, pythons, and baboons, animals that are both companions and tools of the trade. What for many is a terrifying sight, for them is a test of skill, courage, and spiritual connection. A reality that you will now get to know in more detail in order to also understand what their secrets are. As you will see, the taming of hyenas is not achieved through brute force, but with patience and knowledge. The Gadawan Kura usually start the process when the hyenas are cubs, raising and feeding them from a young age to establish a bond. But as you might easily guess, these hyenas never stop being wild animals, so you can never be sure how they will respond. Their control requires a delicate balance of authority and respect, and any mistake can be deadly. Situations that unfortunately do occur. In addition to hyenas, the Gadawan Kura train python snakes and baboons, animals they incorporate into their shows. Each of these animals has a spiritual significance. Hyenas symbolize strength and protection. Snakes symbolize wisdom and mystical power, while baboons represent wit and cunning. Although their skills are impressive, the Gadawan Kura live on the fringes of society. They are often seen as outcasts, sorcerers, or criminals, especially in big cities. But far from the myths, some apparently fueled by possible substance abuse and voodoo rites, their lifestyle is a product of necessity and cultural legacy. Before going into these details, it is good to know other aspects of the daily life of hyena men and women. Both the men and women of this community share an extremely demanding lifestyle, which has shaped not only their customs, but also their bodies and their appearance, endowing them with a particular and primitive, almost savage beauty. Hyena men, known for their central role in the domestication of hyenas and other wild animals, lead a physical and nomadic life that forges their bodies. Constant activity, movement between villages, and the need to maintain control over dangerous animals create an appearance that seems sculpted by the harshness of the environment. Thick muscles, sun-tanned skin, and piercing stares. These men, admired and feared, possess a raw, almost ancient masculinity that fits perfectly with the mystery of their tradition. A masculinity that they reinforce with the custom of taming hyenas. The women of the Gadawan Kura, although less visible in the traveling shows, play an essential role within this community. They are guardians of family traditions, in charge of the oral transmission of legends and knowledge about the use of medicinal herbs and protective rituals. Their lifestyle also gives them a distinctive beauty, strong and agile bodies, the result of day-to-day survival in a hostile environment, and fine features which seem to contrast with the harshness of the landscape. Their character is strong and resilient, accompanying the men on their journey and taking care of the younger animals, a reality that makes them also known as hyena women. Within the Gadawan Kura community, men may have several wives, and these relationships are usually organized in such a way that each wife assumes specific responsibilities within the household. Although from the outside it may appear to be a rigid custom, in context, these family structures allow the community to function as an efficient unit, with each member having a clear role. What is most curious is that despite their polygamous nature, romantic love and physical attraction are highly valued aspects of Gadawan Kura marriages. In fact, unions depend not only on family arrangements, but also on the capabilities and skills demonstrated by the man. To win a wife, a man must prove that he is strong, brave, and skilled with animals, characteristics that ensure the survival of the family. The genetics of this community have sparked speculation. Some researchers suggest that isolation and extreme adaptation to the environment have resulted in certain distinctive physical traits: sinewy bodies, unusual resistance to local diseases, and a serene but dominant character. The aura of mystery surrounding the Gadawan Kura is fueled by legends that their blood is blessed by spiritual ancestors, giving them superhuman resilience and the ability to coexist with animals that anyone else would consider mortal. A reality that perhaps has a bearing on the possible black magic that some say is behind the reality of the Hyena Men. The domestication of wild animals is not only the fruit of tradition and legacy, but more than anything else the best way to survive, as it provides them with a means of subsistence in an environment where economic opportunities are extremely limited. In Kano, for example, the Gadawan Kura walk the streets with their hyenas and other wild and dangerous animals, which are tied up and sometimes muzzled. Hyenas, known for their nocturnal behavior and characteristic howls that sound like macabre laughter, are carnivorous and ferocious animals in the wild. But despite their reputation for being great scavengers and hunters of wildebeest, antelope, and snakes in the African savanna, the Gadawan Kura have managed to integrate them into urban life in a surprising way, managing to domesticate them as if they were their tame pets. The Gadawan Kura have come to integrate this reality so much into their lives that they even live with the hyenas in their homes, and they have become part of their community. In addition, the Gadawan Kura use hyenas in public displays, where they are shown to the public as an attraction. The saliva and feces of the hyenas are believed to have healing properties, and these are used in home remedies, adding an additional aspect to their trade and particular way of life. This spectacle, which may seem incredible to many, is also their most important source of income. The Gadawan Kura dress in traditional costumes that they believe grant them divine protection, allowing them to interact with the hyenas without harm. The acts they perform on the streets of Kano can generate between $20 and $50 per performance, a considerable sum in one of the poorest regions of the world, as you have seen in terms of population, highlighting the economic impact of their extraordinary business. One of the most fascinating beliefs surrounding the Gadawan Kura is the use of magic charms and secret herbs. These ointments and rituals are said to make them immune to bites and attacks from wild animals. Although these claims have no scientific basis, they are part of the mysticism that surrounds this community and feed its aura of mystery and respect. That is why there are many voices in Nigeria and in neighboring countries that indicate that the Gadawan Kura tribe possesses dark powers that help them in the domestication of these animals. These beliefs are not unfounded, as practices related to black magic and the occult are a deeply rooted reality of the culture of this region of the world. This aura of mystery is amplified by the influence of voodoo practices, a form of black magic that has its roots in the neighboring countries of Benin and Togo. Voodoo, known for its esoteric practices and profound cultural impact, originated in the Gulf of Guinea area and has spread throughout this region. In Benin and Togo, voodoo is intertwined with traditional beliefs and manifests itself in rituals that seek to influence the destiny and daily reality of its population. The proximity of these practices to northern Nigeria, where the Gadawan Kura reside, seems to have much to do with the perception that the powers of witch doctors and shamans in Nigeria are connected to these powerful forms of magic and spirituality. Although in Nigeria, the main religions are Christianity and Islam, African religions, rituals, and traditions also have a significant presence, especially among the various ethnic groups that practice ancestral and spiritual rites such as voodoo. These forms of magic are often associated with African traditional religions, and although they do not represent a majority, they do have a notable presence in certain regions. The tribesmen use a combination of potions, medicines, and sedatives to drug wild animals, facilitating their domestication. Although hyenas are considered sinister and evil in many cultures, the Hyena Men have managed to turn them into domesticated pets, challenging the rest of the world's perceptions of these feared animals. A lot has to do with the fact that Nigeria is one of the most ethnically diverse countries in the world, with over 250 ethnic groups with different cultures and traditions. Among these ethnic groups and traditions, there is one that generates controversy because of the extraordinary, and for many also, because of the strangeness of its ritual. At this point, we would like to ask you, what do you think about hyena men and women? Would you have a hyena as a pet? What is the curiosity that has caught your attention the most? We would love to know your opinion, and it is the best way to help us keep working to bring you interesting content like this every week. So, pause the video now and leave us your comment. It costs you nothing and you help us a lot, so thank you. A fundamental aspect that everyone should know if someone wants to travel to the country of the Hyena Men is their safety. According to statistical data, it is good to know that security in Nigeria varies a lot depending on the region you visit. Thus, while some areas of the country, especially big cities like Kano or Lagos, the capital, are relatively safe places for visitors, other regions face more worrying security challenges. In terms of statistics, the Global Peace Index 2023 ranks Nigeria at number 138 out of 163 countries. So in terms of security, there are certain levels of risk and concern that make it advisable not to travel freely in this country. With these dangers in mind, it is good for you to know one of the most dangerous places in Nigeria, known as the Makoko Floating District. It is in these places that the Gadawankura are said to find temporary refuge, carrying with them an air of danger and mysticism. Like wandering specters, some of them appear in makeshift markets or in riverside communities where government presence is virtually non-existent. Their animals, chained and obedient, are not just traveling companions or tools of spectacle, but symbols of a dark, ancestral power that inspires both fear and admiration. Like Makoko, these settlements lack official recognition, serving as protection in case they need it. But it is the human presence that really transforms these places into dangerous zones. Armed gangs, smugglers, and local superstitions intertwine to create a lawless territory. Here, hyena men move cautiously, protected only by the reverential fear their animals inspire. The Makoko neighborhood is the largest floating settlement in Africa, located on the shores of the Lagos Lagoon in Nigeria. Known as the African Venice, this neighborhood began as a humble fishing village in the 19th century, inhabited mainly by the Igun ethnic group, who migrated from neighboring Benin. Over time, it expanded to become a symbol of both human ingenuity and extreme poverty and government neglect. Unlike romantic Venice, daily life here takes place over polluted and stagnant waters, where the houses, built of wood and zinc sheets, stand on bamboo stilts. The local economy depends mainly on artisanal fishing and small commerce, which is carried out in canoes that function as floating tents. Makoko faces a legal limbo. The Nigerian government does not officially recognize this settlement, leaving its approximately 250,000 inhabitants without basic rights. They lack adequate access to essential services such as education, healthcare, and clean water, while infrastructure is virtually non-existent. Makeshift schools and clinics operated by NGOs and religious groups are the only alternative for residents. In addition, the lack of government control has transformed Makoko into a lawless territory where gangs, local mafias, and criminal groups exercise their dominance with impunity. Violence, exploitation, and conflict are part of everyday life, creating an environment that is as fascinating as it is dangerous. Rumors suggest that in an attempt to escape persecution, extreme poverty, or social rejection, Some Gadawan Kura may have found refuge in neighborhoods similar to Makoko, taking advantage of its chaotic nature and anonymity. In these riverside settlements, where the rules of the outside world do not apply, the Hyena Men could continue their traveling shows, taking with them not only their animals, but also their mysticism, their history, and their ability to command respect on the margins of society. I hope you enjoyed getting to know the Hyena Men and women, probably one of the strangest and most fascinating tribes on the planet. Don't forget to subscribe to Uncensored World so you don't miss any of the fantastic videos we make every week. And don't miss the video that follows this one to continue enjoying the wonders, mysteries, and curiosities that make this beautiful planet called Earth unique. Click on it. You will enjoy it.